Alright, here is your typical Notion template. And I'm going to do a very level-headed and calm and this is going to be a very tranquil video where I go through Notion and explain why this is apparently an acceptable way of using Notion. Because some people in this world think that this is actually a productive workspace. People do think that. Apparently, when you're walking down the street, someone is using this and saying, hey, I'm a productive person. They're actually saying that to other people. Alright, I don't even know where to start. Let's start with this, the week task list. It is weak. That's a terrible pun. This is terrible. Okay, why is this terrible? There's a few reasons. A, this isn't connected to anything. Create social media content. What does that mean? What does that mean? Games night. With who? At what time? Update company website. What? There is no step-by-step. There's no details. I don't understand what this means. You understand that this is just not a proper way to use Notion. Okay, look, some people, I get it. The first time using Notion, they might not use databases and stuff. Databases can be very overwhelming. So, they think, I'll just do columns, and I get it. For the first time, yes, you might do columns. But 2 days later, you need to swap to databases. Don't worry, in this video, I'm going to show how to fix this template, because if you have anything that remotely looks like this, we're changing it. The first thing we're doing, a weather widget. You don't need, I didn't even get a proper one. I just screenshotted one. I'm not wasting my time. All we're doing is deleting that. You are not kite surfing to work. You don't need a weather widget. The next thing, all these images and stuff. I get that it looks nice to have nice images, but you are just distracting yourself every time you see this. Same thing with a Spotify widget. A Spotify widget, it's just a shiny dopamine distraction that's sitting in your dashboard. You're trying to work and you're seeing this. The terrible. Click delete, okay? You don't need it. This image, delete.
No more Mr. Nice Duck.
The fact that you have a clock here makes no sense. You are on a computer or on your phone. You have a clock right in front of you. Stop cluttering your Notion workspace with distractions. We're deleting this. It takes up room and it provides zero value. Let's have a look at this. I don't know where to start. This is all fake, by the way. I want to point that out real quick. I haven't downloaded someone's template. I've just created something, taking ideas from all the different trends in Notion templates that I see, and just explaining why they're not effective for productivity. The main word here is productivity. If you like this and it makes you happy and you go into Notion to have a fun time and it's your version of going into Netflix, fine. But if you're using Notion to be productive, organized, and motivated, this is not helping you at all. Okay, so let's go into month. So you have a networking event here, right? On Monday. It is not showing up here, so we don't know when we're planning in columns. We don't know everything else that's coming up. Nothing is connected here. And the power of Notion databases is that it can connect to everything that you need it to. Again, we're going to remake this. Stuff like this, guys, you don't need it. This is just distracting you. Day 62% week. None of that. It looks nice, yes, but it's not helping you. It's just a distraction on your screen. Research shows that those with cluttered workspaces are more likely to become distracted and to procrastinate. You do not want to make yourself procrastinate and distracted every time you use the place that you go to in order to be productive. That is completely counterintuitive. Alright, let's scroll down, look at projects. Honestly, something like this, it's fine. We just need a database. That's the good thing here. So we're using a database. It doesn't have any extra properties, which is fine, but obviously some extra properties could be helpful. Then let's look at notes. This is terrible. So you're in your workspace and you think, oh, I want to take a note. Now you have to scroll down. Now you have to click into notes. Now you have to look at all your notes, scroll down or add to the top. Add your note here. Now you're being distracted by all these other notes. And these notes aren't speaking to anything. So marketing campaign to include Facebook ads. This is just a note that's fallen into the void. You're never going to see this again because it's not showing up where you need it to show up. Again, if this was a database, these could show up on the relevant pages. So imagine if when you take a note about a marketing campaign, it shows up in your marketing campaign project. That way, when you're working on your project of marketing campaign, it's actually showing up in here. Okay, then we have books. This is a very typical book template that I see. This doesn't work. Most likely, the books you want to read will be a very long list. So it's just going to keep scrolling, You're just going to have all of these. So then when you want to find a book, you have to scroll and looking through a very long list. There's no book covers here, even though we'd like to see things visually and typically work better that way. I'm not going to bother redesigning this. If you haven't seen my book template, check that out. It's 100% free. Today, we are going to be focusing on the task list, the month, and the projects and how they all connect. Plus, let's talk about this down here. Tasks. So if you don't have a task that you're adding to your week, you're adding it down here. But this isn't connected to anything. And again, I don't have any information for this. It's just a terrible way to work. Okay, I've said this before in many videos. Your habit is part of your day. Your habits is just a to-do list. Read 30 minutes. That's just a task that you have to do in your day. Don't put it here. Am I meant to check this off every day and then uncheck it every day? Why are we separating your habits from your task list? Your day, your Monday, we want to go through and read emails and sunset hike. Well, we also have to read 30 minutes and do this and do that. Your habits are just tasks. And then a lot of templates also have a thing called to do daily, like walk the dog and go to the gym. Why is that not a habit, and why is the habit not a task? A lot of Notion templates like to separate everything just to make their template look more in depth or something like that. But it's not more in depth, it's just more clunky to use, and it's not actually helping you be more productive. Again, the main word here is be more productive. One thing to clarify, be more productive can mean two things. You can either work faster, so you can work less hours, so you take your 8-hour day into a 4-hour day, or you can get double the amount of work done. So if you still want to work 8 hours, you can do 4 hours, which is a day's worth of work, and then another 4 hours, which is another day's worth of work. The point here is not be more productive so we can work 24/7 and have no fun. We want to have this workspace allow us to work quickly and efficiently so we can do the stuff in life that actually matters. Because most likely, looking back at your week, if you spend 80% of your time scrolling through your Notion, that's not a great week. Even though I love Notion, most of your week shouldn't be spent in Notion. Let's focus on prioritizing meaningful progress and not spending your time trying to figure out what you should be working on. Alright, and then lastly, let's look at the journal. So something like this, again, a terrible journal. Do you know what your journal is? It's another task for your day. If you journal every day or you journal every week, it is just a task in your day or in your week. Let's not separate it again. Everyone is just constantly separating stuff in their Notion. But I totally understand wanting to have a separate space for your journal, like a separate page where you just see that stuff. That makes total sense. So in Notion databases, we can do that. I'm a bit more calm now, okay? Now let's use the power of databases to create what we have here in a much more structured way. All right, so we're going to do /data, and we're going to go down here and click on table view. Click on that. Now here, what we're going to do is create a new database. Now, this is going to be a database that handles all your tasks. It's also going to handle your journal. It's also going to show all of your month. So, and your habits and your daily to-do list and your tasks. This will have everything. So I'm just going to call this task. Now in here, we're going to add the tasks. So I'm just going to add the tasks from below. All right, so now this is just a simple task list. What we want to do now is see this list as a calendar. So what I'm going to do is create some space above it and do /CAL and click on calendar view. Now you don't want to click on new database. What we want to do is select this database here. So the task database. So if it's not showing up in your most recent, you can search for it here, but we're going to click on that. So now you're seeing a duplicate of this database above. Now bear in mind, this is not an actual duplicate. It is just showing the same information twice. It's showing this database here. If we were to copy and paste it, so if I just select this and copy and paste it, then we are duplicating it and creating a new database. So you do not want to do that because as you can see, I've just copy and pasted it here. It's adding 1 to it, which just means this is a new database. It is not the same one. So if I add something here, like blah, you can see it's not showing up here. But if I add something to this one, blah, blah, you can see it's automatically updating this as well. These are the same database. So you do not want to highlight, copy, and paste. So for this above one here, we're going to click on the 3 dots here, and we are going to click on layout. Now layout here, we're going to click on calendar. So we've got a table view right now. We're going to click on calendar. Now you can see we're seeing a month calendar view here. Now remember, this is still the same as this. And you can see that this date column has been added. So I'm just going to drag this to the side here. This date column has been added to this because in order to have a calendar, we need a date property, which makes sense. So I can add these tasks into here in a few different ways. Number one, I can click here and then select the date. So let's say Monday the 11th. And you can see it's added the date here and now it's showing up go through emails. Another thing I can do is drag it. So let's say sunset hike, drag that. And now it's appearing here. Another thing I could do is add it straight into here. So I can click the plus here on the Tuesday, blah, blah, blah. And it's showing up here. Another way I could do it is click on the new up here, blah, 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 blah. And then select the date and select the 13th. Click away and you can see blah, 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 blah is showing up there. I'm just going to delete these. So there's a bunch of different ways that we can add tasks. So I'll just add the rest of these. So I've added the tasks to the next week. So today is Thursday the 7th. If I scroll down, you can see here, I can only plan 1 week as well, which is a really difficult thing using an interface like this. If we can only see the week, we can't plan next week, unless we're going into this month view, and now we're using 2 different calendars. This is becoming very overwhelming. Bear in mind, every time you click away and you go to another page and you're getting distracted, you're actually losing 23 minutes. Studies indicate that it takes 23 minutes to regain focus after a distraction. And obviously, if you add up all of those different 23-minute segments throughout the day where you're trying to refocus, you're really losing a lot of time. So this task list is a great place to put these tasks here, the random ones that we didn't have a day for. So I'm just going to add these into this database, like that. Now it's getting a bit confusing seeing tasks that have a date and don't have a date. So we're just going to add a simple filter. This table view, I'm going to rename this by right-clicking and clicking rename. I'll call this all tasks. Now what we're going to do is right-click on this and do duplicate. Now it is duplicating the view. It is not duplicating the tasks. They're still the same tasks. So we'll rename this to no date. So we're only going to see in this view tasks with no date. Now bear in mind, you do not want to delete any tasks. So I'm just going to delete this blah blah task, for example. We haven't actually deleted it from this view. We've deleted it from the database. So it's gone here, but it's also going to be gone here. And you can see it's gone from up here. So what we want to do in this no date view is add a filter. So click on filter here and you can see here filter where date, and we're going to change this to start date is empty. Filters can get quite complicated because you can actually do some really powerful stuff using filters. A good example is my headquarters templates. Using filters, it actually organizes your task list for you from the highest priority stuff to the lowest priority stuff. But we won't dive into those settings for today's video. So now we have all tasks, which we probably won't use that often, and we have the no date view. So I'm just going to drag that to the side. So now in our dashboard, we're seeing our task list here, and we're seeing our tasks that don't have a date associated with them here. So let's say you want to see this calendar not as a month, but just as the week view, like we're seeing here. Well, again, that's easy to do. We're going to scroll up. Let's rename this calendar. Click on rename and call it month. Now what we're going to do is right click on month and do duplicate. And we're going to call this week. Now we're going to click on layout here. And then here we can see show calendar as month. We're going to change that as week. Now this week was empty. As you can see, I didn't have anything in it. So if we want to see our next week, we just click on this arrow here. And now we can see the following week. Now, how are we meant to know when we've completed a task or not? Well, let's scroll down. Here you can see we can just tick them in like that. So we just want to have a simple checkbox system as we're using down here. So we're going to click on one of these. You can click on any one of these. And here we're going to do add property. And we're going to scroll down and you can see this checkbox. We're going to click on that. And instead of calling this done or complete or anything like that, we're just going to do a spacebar. I'll show you why we do that after. Now let's click away. So it's still not showing up here. So to do that, we're going to click on these 3 dots and we're going to click on properties. So this checkbox is a property. And now we're just going to click on this eyeball icon here. And now you can see that it's showing up. So we can tick these in like that. All right, our system is already 50 times better. We have our week view here and we have our month view here. So let's scroll down and this task that we had in here in the month of the networking event, we're now going to add that straight into here. Networking event 7 p.m. Now, as you can see, the checkbox is not showing up here. It's only showing up on this one. That is because when we are changing the settings here, We are only changing the settings for this view. So these are different views or different tabs, and that is where we're changing the settings. But if you were to delete one of these items, then we are deleting it from all of these. If you have any questions about this, drop it in the comments. All right, the next thing we're going to look at is the journal. So this journaling system is not very good. All we have to do is create a simple template in here for journaling. So we're going to go to the top here, and next to this new, there is this little down arrow. We're going to click on that and click on new template. And let's call this journal entry. Now this is a template that we're editing. We're going to add icon, and we can add an icon here of just a journal. There we go. And in here, you can add all your daily journaling questions. How do I feel today? And you can add all of them in. And let's click away. So now you can just click on plus, and you can see here journal entry shows up. Click on that. The journal entry will load up and all of your questions will load in. And now we have the journal entry. Again, if you want to see the checkboxes on the month view, just click on the three dots, click on properties, this checkbox, click that in. Now the reason we named the checkbox just a spacebar is because it's going to get very overwhelming. Let's rename this to done. It's going to get very overwhelming seeing done, 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 done everywhere. This is very cognitively overwhelming. When you have too much stuff going on visually speaking in front of you, it gets very overwhelming for the brain because it's trying to decipher what's actually happening. So simply just renaming this and just having a spacebar will not change anything in terms of the actual functionality. We can still check it in and we still understand this as a tick box, but it's not adding visual clutter. And that is one of the big problems that I have with templates like this. There is just a lot of visual clutter. The idea that we're pushed is that having stuff like this will make your space calm and you'll feel very at home or something like that when using your Notion. But it actually has the opposite effect. You're just being more distracted and more stressed out because there's so much for your brain to try and figure out and scan through and try to understand what's going on. Alright, now the next component of this is the projects. So we already have a pretty decent projects here, but obviously I'm going to show you how to do it from scratch in case you don't have one. So let's click on plus here and just create some space. We're going to do / and we're going to write gallery. So gallery here, just click on that and we're going to do new database. I'm going to call this projects list. Now you have three options with gallery view. We can either have it showing what's inside of the actual page. So right now, if you add anything, blah, blah, you can see here it's showing us what is inside of this page. Option number 2 is we can change this to, if I add a cover, so I'm just going to write pink sky. We can change the setting here, click on these three dots, then click on layout. And here we're going to change the card preview from page content, so it's showing us the page content right now, to page cover. So that is another option that we have. And then the last option we have, click on the three dots, click on layout, click on card preview and do none. So we don't actually have to have a card preview if we don't want. So I'm just going to go back, click on this, click on layout, click on card preview, do page cover, and I'm going to make the card size from medium to small. So if you want, you can just have the text, there's less visual clutter, or if you want, have some of these. It adds a bit of aesthetics if you want that. So I'm just going to write project 1 here, and then I'm going to make some others. I'm just going to duplicate this. I'm feeling lazy right now. Okay, so we've got these projects here. Now our next goal is to make these tasks talk to these projects. So let's click on this one here, create social media content. What we're going to do here is add a property. Now this property is going to be a relation. A relation in Notion is basically you want one database to talk to another database. So we're going to click on that. Now here we're going to select which database we want it to talk to. So project list is showing up in my recents here, but again, if it's not showing up, you can search for it. So I'll click on that. Now here we want to ensure that it is no limit, and we do not want to click on show on projects list. That might sound counterintuitive, but I'm going to show you a better system. So let's click on add relation. So now if we click on this space here, we can select which project we want it to relate to. So let's just do project 1. So I'm going to go back to the week view. Most likely we're going to be working in the week view when we're actually trying to get stuff done. And we're going to be using the month view when we're just trying to plan out our month. So click on the week view. In this view, we might want to see which project a task is relating to. So to do that, we're going to click on these three dots. We're going to click on properties. And then here, we're going to click on this eyeball here next to project list. That is just meaning we want to show that information. So now you can see project 1 is showing up. So if I click on this task, create social media content, we can now actually take notes. So I can take specific notes on this page. Post 1, blah, post 2, blah. There we go. So you can actually write notes in here. Again, down here, we couldn't take any notes, create social media content. Where do we put any of the notes associated with this task? Yes, we could have done a toggle and then put the notes in here. It's going to get very long, very complicated, and then we can't actually tick off that item. So again, using databases allows us to do stuff like this. Now another thing, we can connect it to a project. So now if I click on project 1, I can open this up, and in here I can write all of the stuff related to that project. Now speaking of, let's make this project list super powerful. So to do that, we're going to click on the down arrow here, and we're going to create a template. Now this template will be for any time you create a new project. So I might just call it new project. Now I'm going to click on full screen here. Now what we want to do is / data, click on table view, and we want to select the same task list that we've been working with. So we're going to click on that here. Again, if you can't see it, just search for it. And to make this easy, when it's asking us to copy an existing view, we're going to click on all tasks. So bear in mind we are in the template. Now the first thing I want to do is go up here and click on these 3 dots and just do full width. Now anytime I create a new project, it will automatically be full width. The next thing here is just change the layout. As we can see, it's a bit of a mess, very strangely organized. This tags property, we don't need that. I can delete that. So that is actually deleting from all databases. It's not just deleting here, but I realize I don't need that column, aka I don't need that property, so I'm deleting that. So now the last setting that we want to do here is ensure that we're only seeing tasks in this list here that relate to this project. So it's actually super easy to do. We're going to click on filter. We're going to click on add advanced filter. Click on where project list contains, and then we want to select new project or whatever you name this. So click on that. So it's as easy as that to set it up. So let's go back here and I'll scroll down. So I'll click on project 1 and delete that random stuff and click on new project here. Now this will load in the settings, and as you can see, it's added create social media content because it's relating to project 1. So if I scroll up, you can see here, project 1 create social media content. It is now loading that up. So now if I add anything to it, create marketing campaign, add that to project 1, and then scroll down, I am now seeing in project 1, create social media content and create marketing campaign. Everything is connected. We're not going into a bunch of different pages and sub pages, and we're not doing a ton of extra work just in order to find a page that we want to use. All right, let's scroll down. We have a few stuff left. I'm actually going to start deleting stuff. All of this, delete. We have done that. These, we know we don't want images. Delete them. The month view, we've done that. Projects, we've done that. Books, I've already made a free template. It's really useful. The link is in the description if you want to check that out. Journaling system, we've put that in our task list. These tasks, we've done that. So the last stuff is the notes, the habits, and the to-do daily. Well, we know that to-do daily is not a thing. It is just a habit, and a habit is just a task. So all of this stuff, they are just going to be tasks that you do every single day. So I'm just going to, delete journal here. So let's take read 30 minutes here. I'm not going to do this for all of them because it's the same idea. So we're going to click on this down arrow here and do template. And let's do read 30 minutes. I'm going to add an icon here of a book. That makes sense. And if you want, you can add this to a project. Because we haven't already created a project relating to this, you can actually start just typing right now. So read every day and click on new project. I don't think we need a project for reading, to be honest. And now I can click away. So if I click on plus here, click on read 30 minutes, that loads in. So now that is part of our day. We're not going into 19 different workspaces just to find and tick in different things in our life, trying to figure out, wait, have I gone through my calendar? Have I gone through my month view? Have I gone through my week view? Have I gone through my habits? Have I gone through my daily to-do? There's too many things. Now we just have everything in the one space. It is so much easier for your brain. You just have to check one thing. You're not trying to do a Where's Wally of things that you have to do. It is 20 times more stressful if you're going into a workspace and you don't feel like everything is under control because you have to look and search for stuff. Now, let's say you don't want to create this habit every single day, but you want it automatically created. We can easily do that as well. We just click on the down arrow and then read 30 minutes here. We're going to click on the 3 dots and here we can do repeat. And then here for repeat, we can just click in every day. You can also do every week, every month, every year, but then this will be automatically created every day. Again, creating a system like this makes it so much easier because A, you actually have a system. What you had before wasn't a system, it was just a glorified Word doc. Now we have a system that works together, everything is seamless and is actually connected. Now, speaking of being connected, the last thing is the notes. So notes right now, like this, is not helpful whatsoever. So if you want to learn how to make a seamless note system, then click on this video here. Or if you want everything done for you so you don't have to do any work, if you want an all-in-one system in Notion, then check out my headquarters template. If you made it this far into the video, then you definitely understand my ideology around Notion and how to use it to get the most out of it. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope this was helpful.